Betting on sports can be hard, but hiring Morgan & Morgan is easy. Morgan & Morgan is America's largest injury law firm. They have over 100 offices nationwide and more than 1,000 lawyers. Their fee is free unless they win. For more information, go to forthepeople.com/bestbets or dial pound law, pound 529 from your cell phone. That's forthepeople.com/bestbets. This is a paid advertisement.
That's what I always say. You always follow the money.
Yeah. This is Follow the Money with Mitch Moss and Pauly Howard on VSiN.
Happy holidays. Happy New Year. Mike Paulman today and Monday. Mitch back Tuesday. And 14-13 Vandy. And this has died here. You thought it was going to pick up a little bit, but 14-13 late in the third quarter. We already had one final, a 10-point move on Navy. Huge swing here at Circa. Navy from 10 down to pick, and they win 21-20 against Oklahoma. They trailed 14-0 early.
I see the most action at MGM was over 44.5 in that game. They kicked the extra point. They go to overtime. Has to go over.
No, had everything.
Venable.
Had
he's
everything.
Something.
Yep, just like last night, in 140-1 cashed with no touchdown and closed 120-1 here at Circa. You are correct. I know we love this and we're running out of games, but 11 games tomorrow. 8 bowl games and the triple header in the NFL. Somich likes it. I like it as well. Give me Harbaugh against Mayo. Chargers winning in, plus the extra time and added rest for the Chargers. Dobbins coming back. The rushing game, 118 yards per game. The 4 games with him hurt, 74 yards per game. Get extra time for Herbert with that ankle. He looked good taking off and hurt my feelings because he went over his rushing yards. But how the offense came back and looked against the Broncos. And I just think, well, the Patriots have been game here and in a lot of games. But this coaching staff and Mayo with the conservative play calling and, kicking field goals and punting 4th and 1 from midfield. Give me Harbaugh here. And the Chargers not only to win and cover and get that playoff spot. And still, not only that, but they can catch the Steelers, too. Now, the Steelers have the tiebreaker with the head-to-head, but this is big if they can win out because Pittsburgh closes against Cincinnati. I'd rather face the Texans than take on the Ravens.
Have you ever seen less fight out of a division champ than you saw at Houston on Christmas?
No kidding. I
think this Stroud's head is still messed up from watching Tank Dell get crippled in that game. I think he's still...
Yeah.
He misses a lot of guys.
It was a tough
He's
moment.
regressed, Paul.
No doubt.
Okay.
No doubt. Some people we crowned him too early, but certainly he's had a bad year. No doubt.
What would you say? You said if you just said last year coming in, right now Bryce Young would be playing better than C.J. Stroud. People would say.
Sure, yeah. But that's it goes to how important coaching is. You give Young a lot of credit, but the job Canales has done, and also sitting him down, and then the practice time as well, and getting his act together. He's been great. So Hunter Henry props. 8+ targets, 4 of his last 5 going against his former team. We've been big with May rushing yards over. You can decide what you want to do there, but he has thrown an interception 7 games in a row. We touched on that earlier with the interception props with some of these. Stafford up to the no -150 and Herbert -135, although he was picked in the last game. The middle game, Knicks 6-2 ATS on the road. The hook's big in this game. Cincinnati 0-7 against teams with a winning record. Can they lock down and contain Chase, who's way up there with his yards up in the 90s, which I think is too high? Denver wins, they're in. Peyton, 33-16-1 ATS as a road dog since 2018 by a mile. That's number 1. Extended rest, extra prep time, 67% ATS. This year, extended rest, they're 3-0 straight up, and ATS scoring a combined 100 points. Hello, lousy Cincinnati defense. Knicks over 229 passing, and Chernoff made the case for the Broncos earlier. Do you concur?
Knicks 6-1, most passing yards on
like
Saturday.
That too.
I like it.
Yep. I think.
What's the team total for Denver in this game, Paul? I think you have to look at that over as well.
Yep.
Against Anarumo.
Big total in the middle game, and
9 is 26-23.
Bengals
23.
almost drawing dead here. They need a lot to happen to get in. The late game. Rams at home against Arizona. We've touched on a couple times the tax here. Now up to 7. McVay 12 3-1 ATS run against Arizona. Pounded in the first meeting.
Oh.
Didn't have Puka. He's on a 15-2 ATS run in December. And with so many injuries with Arizona, We'll see if Murray can deliver, who's a 31-17-2 run ATS as a dog. I don't think their hearts are going to be in it, though, knowing that they've been eliminated and their season's over. Helps that they're on national TV. Again, with the tax, though, 6.5, 7. But I think the Rams take care of business. But this is a lot of points here in this one. But I think the Rams get it done, and that'll do it for Seattle. Because then you get 4 out of the 6 teams that need to win. It's like a prop bet. It's got to go over 3.5, these teams, to get clinch the strength of victory tiebreaker as well. Late games. Green Bay and Minnesota. If the Vikings win, it'll be the 4th sweep in the last 25 years. Darnold, 15-1 touchdown INT ratio in his last 6 games. Packers 1-3 in the division. This is crazy. It's an all-timer. The fact that you could win 12, 13 games, finish in 3rd place, and be what, the 6th seed?
They're going to be the 6th, I think.
That could happen too.
Yeah.
What's
the most likely to happen is the 6th.
That's right, yeah.
But they could be 5, 6, or 7. But it's most likely 6.
Yeah. Swept against the Lions, blown out at home against Detroit. We're get down big against the Vikings in the first meeting. Clawed their way back, lost a close one, missed 2 field goals in that one with Narveson, but a big upgrade bringing McManus. Since they acquired him, he's made 16 of 17 kicks. What quarterback's going to make a big mistake? You might say it's going to be Sam, although Love did it in the first meeting. Love had struggled early on against the blitz. No one blitzes more than Minnesota and Flores. But Love has been solid of late, but we'll see if he turns it over here. I'm with Chernoff. This one is too. I'm just surprised it's Pick or it's Circa. It's Caesars the other day. Green Bay was laying 1. I just think it's all right there for Minnesota. Everything's going their way. The year Darnold's had, and if they win out, they get the 1 seed. Mm-hmm. And Green Bay kind of like accepting their fate that they got to go win 3 road games.
Yeah, Washington can still get the 6th and Green Bay the 7th. Right, they're a game behind Green Bay that way. So yeah, it could be 5, 6, or 7. But think about that. 7 is likely at Philly, 6 is likely at the Rams, and the 5 is likely at Tampa or Atlanta. Right? There's no gimme spots there.
These are all great games.
Think about the NFC playoffs
games.
Last year, Paul. The Rams gave Detroit everything they wanted in Detroit.
Right.
Tampa Bay gave Detroit everything they wanted in Detroit. Green Bay should have won in San Francisco, and Detroit should have won in San Francisco. Every game was really a great game last year, and it's shaping up that way this year, I think, for the NFC at least.
Yeah. Probably you think it's going to be Detroit, Green Bay round 3, and then Minnesota, Philly?
Yeah, I think
that could fall.
I think it's Green Bay at the Rams, and then I think Green Bay plays Philly in round 2, and Detroit plays Minnesota in round 2. If Minnesota wins the road game, I don't know.
Not the other way around.
They had this great game. They had this great season, right? Doesn't necessarily mean they're going to win a road game.
Yeah. Sunday night, I'm going against Chernoff. I'm with Mike Palm. Like Washington here, it's going to be the 20th year in a row where we didn't have a repeat champ in the NFC East. Eagles win, they clinch the division. I think they'll get it done against Dallas. Love Barkley over props. As we talked about, it's going to be Pickett, and that's 7.5 in that game. No Lamb for Dallas, but 4. Adam thinks it gets down to 3 in some spots, and then Somich will make the case for the under coming up as well, 47.5. Atlanta can't stop anything unless it's against bad teams and bad offenses. So kind of phony the numbers because you played Ritter and Locke the last couple of weeks. I just think Daniels is going to have all day to throw and light them up in a big game from McLaurin and a big game from the Washington offense. Who knows? Maybe Penix proves me wrong, but he has to do so. I tip my cap to him. It's a contest play as well. If he happens to get me in his first ever road start against Dan Quinn, just say, okay, great job, and now they have a chance to win the division, and they were 5-1 not that long ago. So Tampa opened the door, see if Atlanta can take advantage. Certainly they have a ton of weapons. Cousins wasn't giving you anything, but I think people disagree a little bit with the assessment of how Penix looked last week, but you thought he struggled, and maybe that's the case Sunday night. But give me Washington in this one.
Yeah, you're right. Minnesota at Philly, Green Bay at Detroit could be the Final Four in the NFC.
Yep. Not you were going to make the case for Washington, though?
Well, Washington, that's my best play this weekend. I'm not sold. I know Chernoff says that the experts thought that Penix looked good. I didn't. I thought his timing was off. You couldn't put him in a better spot than playing at home against the Giants who are going to give the ball away twice. And you're always going to play up front. You don't have any worry about this team that's going to try to get the number 1 seed. And now that will be a hostile atmosphere. It might be very windy as well. Adam brought up the rain. I also saw gusts up to 30 miles an hour with the rain, which to me is a bigger factor to the total than the rain. I don't think rain is a big factor in total. I think wind is. And I actually think it's for the under. And I actually think snow favors the over. Because when you know where you're going and the defense doesn't, on an icy or slick field, I think it favors offense. But anyhow, yeah, that's my best bet in the NFL is, and I know Adam says that the 4, you don't lay 4 because it's going to come down to 3-120. Well, we'll see.
Like the Colts against the Giants, 6-1 ATS. Straight up, ATS and straight up against teams with a losing record. Giants would become the first team in history to go 0-9 at home. Lost 10 in a row and a 1-9 ATS run as well. Second worst run defense. I hope it's Richardson. That means a big day for Taylor and could be a big day on the ground for Richardson as well. Panthers, Bucks. Carolina's covered 6 in a row as a dog. No Otten, no Shepard, no Winfield. Could be big game for Evans, who's in the low 80s. You mentioned the angle, too, trying to get him 1,000 yards. That prop is up, by the way, at DraftKings. It's one that the Buccaneers have to have. Also, you're paying a tax, though, but they should have lost the first meeting. But we'll see what Young can do if he could keep it close. And the back door could be open in this one. And one of the 2 late games, Dolphins-Browns, and now the total down to 37.5 with Njoku out and Tillman out. DTR's awful. Miami's defense much improved. But again, you got Waddle and Hill banged up. I think it's a big deal for Miami to get to 9-8, but I don't know about laying the points with Miami. What do you think? Under?
I think you could look at Cleveland as the lowest scoring team.
Yeah, that's okay.
What did they score last 6 against Cincinnati? I mean, Cincinnati kept giving them the ball.
Yep.
You really created this window where the whole world's going to be watching Packers-Vikings because who's going to want to watch this game? It's the only other game.
Can't do it.
What
if something happens? What if it's a blowout in the Minnesota game? You're stuck.
You're stuck for 4 hours with nothing.
Yeah, you get an extra
No
sandwich.
bowl games, no nothing.
God.
No nothing.
I can't believe they did that. In pocket, coming up next, rapid fire, what we're betting. Wembanyama back. Wembanyama tonight in the movement with his numbers coming up.
Was on coke if his girlfriend was not. These games are a burial, a blowout, a human lock. You can bet your children's unborn children on these games.
I was so good that whenever I bet, I could change the odds for every bookmaker in the country.
In-pocket plays are hard. Hiring Morgan & Morgan is easy. If you're ever injured, check out Morgan & Morgan. Morgan & Morgan, America's largest injury law firm. They have over 100 offices nationwide and more than 1,000 lawyers. Submitting an injury claim with Morgan & Morgan is so easy. If you're ever injured, check out Morgan & Morgan. Their fee is free unless they win. For more info, go to forthepeople.com/bestbets or dial #law, #529 from your cell. Forthepeople.com/bestbets or #law, #529 from your cell. We love you, Morgan & Morgan. All right, a bunch of props here. Barkley over rushing yards, as I mentioned, 112.5, 111.5, depends where you shop. Dallas 28th against the run. He's 284 away, I believe 284 away from breaking Dickerson's record. Love Dickerson's reaction. I'm not rooting for him. Hell no, right? But with Hurts out and a big dose of Barkley and feeding him early and often in that one, Carolina, first half over 24.5 against Tampa. Hunter Henry over 44.5 receiving yards going against his former team. 8+ targets, 4 of the last 5 games. Jonnu Smith over 46.5 receiving yards. Take a look at the receptions as well. It'd be huge if you have Hill and Waddle out, or certainly both are banged up. Herbert, no interception, -120. Cowboys, longest made field goal. Shop it. It's plus money. Can you believe it? At DraftKings, it's plus 115. I mean, this guy's automatic, and they'll trot him out from 50.
Elliott can't. They go on 4th down. They don't even let him try.
Yeah, he finally made one, but you can't, right? So we're getting out of control here as well. But everyone with the Wembanyama mania and easy cash on Christmas. So he's up to 25 points with the prop tonight, and it's 3 made threes, significant juice, -180. 4 made threes is plus $1.30. Let me give you the game log. These are threes. Attempts, 16, 13, 8, 15, 9, 9, 9, 14, 13, 13, 16, 12, 9. There were a couple stinkers in there. There was only 7. But this guy, going back here, has been bombs away with a ton of shots and a ton of threes. And they're taking on the Nets tonight. as well. So I think the same and these, they'll be ready to go. Hanging out there, spending the holidays in New York. So over made threes with Wembanyama. Other stuff to look at and consider. Thielen over 54.5. Evans 82.5. Bowers 66.5. Somich will make the case for McBride. 64.5. Chase, I think, is too high. 92.5. Surtain's only allowed 234 yards the whole season. And the last time they met, he had one catch in the game. So, and Mike made the case, too, with Brown's lowest scoring team. So many good props up there with the leaders, weekly leaders, Saturday and Sunday, and the high-low as well. Seahawks, first quarter was a winner. And how about that? 43-0 run. Bears outscored in the first quarter of the last 5 games. You know what we'll do with the
nice
final
script.
game?
They always got a nice script.
Oh, my God, this coaching staff. Vicious beat Williams, no interception. Throws it up for grabs on 4th and 10, final play. And he went over his rushing yards. That's a winner. 5 of the last 6 he's gone over. It was a good write-up from Mr. Cohen on the VSiN website as well. There we go. Take it away, Maestro.
Yep, Commanders, we talked about this, laying the 4 against Penix and the Falcons at home on Sunday night. I've got Colorado. I think Colorado has approached this bowl game well. The Alamo Bowl against BYU. They're loose. They're going to play their kids. I think it's important to be there. It's a great recruiting tool.
How long is
for
the
Prime.
question?
Well,
Tough one.
BYU was playing over their skis for a while, too. I mean, Houston came very close to beating BYU and sending Colorado to the Big 12 championship game against Kenny Dillingham. And then I've talked about this Missouri. I think there's a big talent differential here. Ferentz with smoke and mirrors somehow won 8 games. You know, Iowa's one of only 5 teams that's won 8 games the last 5 years in every year in college football. It's amazing how they even got to that point, though. I think a huge talent differential here. Luther Burden is going to is not going to play, but neither is the back for Iowa, Johnson. And so you're going to get the 4th string and 5th string quarterbacks. I don't know how Iowa's going to muster up much of an offense. I think this game's a runaway. So laying the 3 with Missouri there. All
right, good job. Reaction earlier to, and there's some people that agree with you about the Shauna's son, who's 9 years old, always whining and crying and wanting to get his way. And we're out on our birthday dinner, and he must have called 5-6 times for just ridiculous stuff. I'm thirsty, we're out of water, whatever. And it's just, this is from Bert. You got to understand kids didn't grow up the way we did. My son's 11, he's needy. When I was his age, I was running wild. You're dealing with a whole other dynamic. But have a little sympathy, he said. Another guy says you have to run ASAP. He'll always want his mommy. And another says he's jealous of you, fighting for his mom, attention, considerate. And you can't say a word. It's part of the deal. Mile High David as well. And your son just turned 9 today as well, but he's a hockey player. He's tough. He doesn't need that stuff. But, to the one point about everything's a phone call away, though, and they abuse it as well.
I think we should put up a Twitter poll here, Paul. I've just thought of this in my mind here. Worst take, Paul's impatience with girlfriend's 9-year-old son,
right,
or Mitch wanting to return baby after 4 days? That'd be an interesting poll. Okay. I think it's an interesting Twitter poll to put up.
No,
I don't
whole thing was
do all those things.
You got that right. Well, my whole thing was, when is he going to grow out of this? How long is this going to continue? Because when I was a kid,
can you fade it?
It was just
can you fade it? I mean,
I'm running out of time.
Yes, I know.
Sure, it's sure. But that's going to lose my boyish good looks at some point, right? Got that. But this is, well, I shouldn't say. She's up there, getting up there. 30. Okay, so. It's like when I never wanted to hang out with my parents after that certain age, and it's like, I can't wait to go home, right? This kid loves it. He relishes it. Can I get home? Where's mom? Can I hang out with mom? When are you coming home? When are you coming home? Nonstop. When are you coming home? It's going to be okay. Play with your video games. Hang out with your friends, something.
In his defense, when you grew up with sort of dominant, just one parent and not the 2 parents, you start to lean on that one parent.
All right.
And it gets to be you and me against the world stuff.
Very good.
I'm just trying to make a case to try to bring a person with no empathy some empathy.
Okay, well done. Sure. And I have no patience, and that's a big problem.
No patience, no empathy.
That's a big problem.
No empathy.
That's right. I thought you were going to do the Madonna line. No justice, no peace. Madonna 2 hours late.
5 hours late. I was trying to get a riot there at Caesars.
How about this? Share your Uber horror stories. Uber Eats or Uber in general. Shauna also just was sick. It was not alcohol related. She was sick and threw up in the Uber car. She felt it was coming on. She had the bag, but also helped the guy out and cleaned it up. But we also had this with the guys behind the glass. They ordered from a restaurant down the road. The guy, for whatever reason, couldn't find the plaza. He's like, and the guys are right. It's like, how can you not find you're an Uber driver. It's right across the street. He drops the food off here at the Circa Valet and leaves it on the garbage, like in the garbage area.
Did he text them? The food's, did he take a picture of the food on the garbage can and send it to him?
Yeah, but they said the valet guy verified it wasn't touched with, it wasn't messed with, and it was okay. I just can't believe that. I'm not a big Uber Eats guy. I can't believe they just sit there and they just leave it at your door or leave it anywhere, just call it good, and I'll go, okay, I got more stops to make on about my day. He leaves it in the guy. He couldn't find the drop was supposed to be a plaza. He goes out here to the front valet and leaves it on the garbage.
Unacceptable. Something happened. I can't remember. I'm going to try to remember during the break. Something happened to me at a restaurant in the last week and I can't. I'm trying to. It triggered me though. I got very upset. My wife said, "Oh, they're just trying to do their job." And then you see all these people attacking Chipotle employees and all that. But I got hot.
Fill up the bowl and record it.
Yeah, I'm
shaming them and recording it.
It is. Yeah.
Okay.
But something happened with me with food somewhere. I can't remember.
Remember the video where the guy dropped off the Uber Eats and the bear came and took it. Yeah. I mean, how do you explain that one? Refund, please. Oh, he comes in and grabs the bag, right?
Yes.
But it's like, I can't get a call. You can't call. Hey, by the way, your food's here. Here we go. I'm coming.
Send them
2
for
minutes
Monday.
away.
Send in your stories for Monday.
Yeah. Uber Eats horror stories. I thought that was good. I just had 2 in the last couple of days, and at least
I've never used it.
Yeah?
No, I've never used it. I get upset, though, because like you go into Capriati's and you order 3 sandwiches, but they got 12 Uber Eats orders that they're working on.
That's right.
And you're sitting there, we got to fill the orders. There,
right. Well, you see this stuff, too, with the pizza. They just throw it down on the ground, and the stuff all over the place and scattered about, right?
Awful.
Yeah. Ready to take your tailgate to the next level? Got to try Sewell's Barbecue. Born from a backyard cookout in a mason jar of unforgettable flavor, Sewell's become a Southern favorite, delighting taste buds from Georgia to the Carolinas. From smoky ribs and mouth-watering wings to the perfect backyard burger, Sewell's turns every bite into a flavored pack experience. Order now, Sewell'sBarbecueSauce.com. Southern hospitality never tasted so good. Sewell'sBarbecueSauce.com. Flavor this good, just a click away.
Here's a teaser for Monday, too. I've heard you mention you think it's kind of stretching the bounds of credulity to consider Pete Carroll as your head coach.
Outrageous. It's Schefter doing something with the agent. Go ahead.
Well, but I mean, he's a 74-year-old Super Bowl winning head coach. But you can't believe no one will hire 73-year-old Super Bowl winning head coach Bill Belichick. Let's talk about that on Monday. The dichotomy of those two thoughts.
Yes. Rapid fire picks and props. He's been hot. Mike Somich in studio next. Follow the money. Happy holidays.
This is Follow the Money on VSiN.
You'll like one of them. We're live. Hold on. Gonna close strong here. Back on Follow the Money. Told Mike Somich to come heavy. Mike Paulman as well. He's here on Monday as well. Mitch is out back Tuesday. First thing first, 35-13 Vandy in a bowl game. Minus 18.5 in play, 54.5. The total now is they opened up a can here against Georgia Tech. And the final earlier today, Navy beat Oklahoma. How you doing, Mr. Somich?
Doing great. I'm doing great. I am looking forward to this NFL weekend. This is my dream here. I love standalone games because I love being able to play player props in game, and we get that opportunity with 3 tomorrow. We've got the Monday night, the Sunday night game. So love this NFL slate. Looking forward to it. And then I'd love college bowls as well. I don't bet a ton of them before the actual game starts, but in game for college bowls and being able to kind of look through, okay, who's in, who's out,
right,
and try and get in a little ahead of it. You can get some pretty good lines even on game day in these things.
I thought that was a good. Sorry, Mike. I thought that was a good angle with Arkansas State.
Yeah.
Just figured they couldn't stop the rushing attack, and they were going to be in that game.
I actually think that even though with all the uncertainty, the end game is really interesting. When you come out and you see who competes, how do they match up, and like you could just start betting the over in that Kansas State-Rutgers game last night. Just keep hitting it. At every bench, you'd have never booked a loser if you did just bet over at every commercial break or whenever you could.
And that was an interesting one because Kansas State rush defense so good during the regular season, and we saw they came out and they were just not interested on defense. And you knew that the Kansas State offense would be able to get it going at some point. And when you have that defense playing the way it is, like you said, it's an easy one to pop the over button in game.
Before we get started, Paul, I do have to ask Mike this. I know you do this and that. You bet some horses here. You bet some college here, some NHL, but next Saturday night at 7 o'clock when it's over, when the season of the contest show is done, how are you going to adjust your life? Because this has been a focal point for you now for 4 months, what you and Matt Brown have done documenting this Survivor throughout the year.
It's going to be kind of sad. Right. I mean, it's a lot of fun to talk about Survivor week in, week out, look at who people have left, how you're going to adjust to that, and then be able to talk about some of these people on the show, some of the stories that we get, and hear from Jeff and Derek what's going on behind the book on some of these NFL games too, which I think is really valuable on that show. So I'll shift my attention to college basketball. Where else are you going to go, right? I mean, you get the college basketball slate, to me, really officially starting when you have these conference games that kick off. It's when I like to start betting college basketball because you have a lot more knowns than unknowns like you do early in the season. So once the NFL season winds down and you've got those contest shows that are over, for me, it moves to college basketball.
Over, under 5.5 teams selected Saturday.
This week? I will go over. I think we're going to have quite a few teams that are selected with just kind of some of the jockeying for position here in the last couple weeks. We're through the holiday weeks now. We got quite a few people left. And there are a lot of different options on the board as well. I could see people going to 7 to 8 different teams here. So I think we'll go over 5.5.
Interested to see if the one person that is Washington available uses them, because you know where you stand with the late game. Ready, set, bet, and also the contest show, which you must watch Saturdays at 9 p.m. Eastern, 6 p.m. Pacific, right here on VSiN. Okay. In 7 years, I've never seen a guest have this many bets, and I'm not complaining.
Wes Reynolds has never been a guest on your show?
This is not. This okay. So we'll go out to Santa Anita coming up as well, and you might, if we have time, we'll sneak in some hockey. So you mentioned this, and you're right, with the standalone games and the triple header tomorrow. Number one, Chargers side and a couple props. Take it away. I'm picking up what you're putting down here.
Yeah, let's go Chargers minus 4.5. This game opened at 6. I'm like, yeah, that makes sense. And then it got down to 4 at one point. This is a Chargers team that I think has a lot of advantages, and you'll catch that from my prop plays as well. It's a Patriots rush defense that has been not very good, 24th in the league and yards per game. They've given up 160 yards per game on the ground over the last 3 games as well. That's 28th in the league. Dobbins comes in here with a 56.5 rushing number. We'll go over there.
Yes.
This is one of those situations when he went on IR. They talked about how he didn't need to go on IR, but because it was Dobbins and they wanted to make sure he was fresh heading into the late part of the season, they were going to send him there. Not surprised he's coming back. I don't have a big injury concern there. And look, my guy Ladd McConkey is playing. He's been one of those receivers that I have really leaned on this year from a prop perspective, and it's paid off. He's getting to the higher point of his numbers here at 72.5, and I am a little concerned that the Chargers end up in a run-first setting here in the second half. But when you look at what McConkey does against man coverage, he's top 10 in the NFL according to PFF versus man coverage. His target share goes up versus man coverage. New England plays the second most man coverage in the NFL, almost 40% of their snaps. It's just too good of a matchup for McConkey here, who also is going to avoid their number one cornerback because he doesn't travel. He plays on the outside. McConkey gets a lot of snaps from the slot. I think Ladd McConkey has a chance to have a big game here. I think the Chargers cover.
All right. McConkey over. Dobbins over. Chargers cover. I'm with you with the Chargers as well, and Dobbins should have a big game. Middle game, Brown over receiving yards, and let's ladder.
Yeah, look, Chase Brown here, he has been great from a all-purpose yard perspective the last few weeks. He gets rushing yards, gets receiving yards, but then you take a look at this matchup here with the Denver Broncos. This is just a great spot for Chase Brown to be able to have success from a receiving perspective. It's a Denver team that loves to blitz, loves to play man coverage behind him, and you have Patrick Surtain manned up with their number one wide receiver in Jamar Chase. That means the targets have to go somewhere else. Chase Brown's gone over 50 yards in 3 games this season, including 3 of the last 6. His receiving prop at just 27.5 yards. Let's take Chase Brown over 27.5 yards and ladder him up to 50 yards or more. That's a plus 300 number. I think it's a shot for a huge day here against the Broncos.
Okay, what does McBride do in the late game?
He feasts. This is man versus zone, right? This is a team that you're going to see a lot of zone against for this Arizona Cardinals team when you talk about the Los Angeles Rams. And with them constantly in zone coverage here, McBride gets the opportunity to be able to get more targets in this situation. His target share goes up. And we saw him last week have his worst game of the season. Feels like a situation where they're going to want to feed him in this spot here. You can get over 6.5 receptions for plus 100. So I'm looking for receptions, not yards here. I think McBride gets 10-plus targets in this game. He'll catch at least 7 of them.
All right, let's get nuts. Let's get aggressive, and I'm with this one, too. It didn't work out Monday, but they fell behind, and the game plan changed as well. Miller, rushing yards against the Raiders.
Yeah, Kendre Miller, man. He had the opportunity 2 weeks ago, and we saw Kamara go down late in that game. He had the most carries in that game. Last week, you called it. Look, the game script didn't play into it, and because of that, we haven't seen an adjustment from a player prop rushing total perspective here. Sitting at just 40.5 rush yards right now for Kendre Miller against just a putrid Raiders rush defense that specifically struggles against outside zone runs. Well, guess what? That's what the Saints want to run here. So I think Kendre Miller gets quite a few opportunities on these outside zone runs. I'll ladder him up all the way to 80 yards here in this spot. The 40.5-yard mark is his regular number. We'll go over that. 60-plus yards, plus 225, and 80-plus, plus 550 for Kendre Miller.
That's awesome. That's aggressive. Now, I think Taylor has a huge game against the Giants, but you're attacking in a unique way.
I am. Like, I want to play the over on Jonathan Taylor rushing attempts. I want to look at the rushing yards, but they're just ballooned up at this point, right? We're seeing it at 100-plus yards on the rushing side. You're seeing it at 23.5, 22.5 rushing attempts. Give me the longest rush for Jonathan Taylor here. It's at 18.5. He's gone over that total in 7 of 12 games. 2 of those games that he did not go over against the Lions and the Vikings, which were both negative game scripts. He got just 11 and 13 carries in those 2 games. This Giants team is 31st against the rush. In the last 3 weeks, they have allowed 12 explosive run plays on the ground. Let's go with Jonathan Taylor over 18.5 yards for his longest rush.
All right. This also creative. How about a running back matchup? Head-to-head here.
My favorite bet of the week.
Okay.
If you can find this one out there, I would lay a lot more than 11.5 yards. This is my favorite bet of the week. It's available over on DraftKings. Bucky Irving, minus 11.5 yards versus Chuba Hubbard. First off, let's just talk about the game script here. You've got an 8-point favorite for the Buccaneers. They're most likely to run the football more than the Panthers because of that. On top of that, let's just rewind here back to the first matchup. Bucky Irving goes for 125 rush yards. Chuba Hubbard goes for 43. So just slightly covering that 12-yard advantage that you need. Carolina last against the run in the NFL. Tampa Bay is the 10th best against the run in the NFL. If you want to shrink that window down, just the last 3 games, Carolina averaging 208 yards on the ground. Tampa Bay averaging 51.3. So let's go Bucky Irving minus 11.5 rush yards against Chuba Hubbard.
I haven't looked at that before. How much matchups do they have? A lot of them? A lot of options?
Usually you'll see wide receiver 1 versus wide receiver 1. You might see the tight ends against each other, and you'll usually see the running backs against each other as well. And there are certain scenarios where, like, I like Bucky Irving's over at 81.5, and I like Hubbard's under at 70.5. But I would rather play the 2 against each other just because of the upside I see with Irving and the bust side I see with Hubbard.
Okay, 2 more props to get to.
When do we need to give you a race out? In this segment or the next one?
Let's do it. Let's do it in this one.
Yeah, Paul. He said at the end of this one.
It's going to go off. It goes off here.
What? Somebody's got to host the show. Somebody's got to host the show, all right?
I thought he said the start of segment 2.
The end of the first segment.
Okay.
So we're going to head out to Santa Anita here. We're going to go to race number 8. I don't like playing favorites.
Okay.
But I do like the favorite in this spot quite a bit. Cooey, the 1 horse here. It's a Bob Baffert trainee. You like the name, don't you, Mike?
Yeah, I do like the name.
It's a solid name there with Cooey there, the 1. Bob Baffert trainee, even money, first-time starter. There's a lot of buzz around this horse. So this is going to be one of Baffert's very, very good horses. I want to look for value, though. So let's play an exacta colt here. 1 with 3. Scoozy, the 3 horse here. Mark Glatt has been absolutely on fire at Santa Anita. Very good with first-time starters. Very good with 2-year-olds. And the horses that are getting bet in this race, the 5-horse Surf Song and the 7-horse McKechnie, both have run before. I wasn't overly impressed, and they're not really good second-time-out trainers as well for those 2 horses. So let's try and find a little value here. The 1 Cooey over the 3 Scoozy, 12-1 right now for that cold exacta.
Ooh, that'd be a big cash. All right. Good work, Mike. Thanks, Mike, as well. Up next, 2 more props, 2 sides, 2 totals. Close strong. VSiN, follow the money.
This is Follow the Money on VSiN.
We have a situation here in the bowl game, 35-13 Vandy, but it's a weather delay, and it hasn't gone the distance. So, oh, mama. Hold on to your hats here. This is interesting. Go ahead.
Mike Palm rules real quick.
55 minutes. Must play 55. Yep.
We got 7:17 left in the fourth, so we have 2 minutes short.
Pauly Howard, Mike Somich, Mike Palm, Mitch out back Tuesday. Want to become a sharper, better this holiday season? VSiN has the ultimate gift for you or the sports better in your life. Take advantage of our holiday special. Get VSiN Pro access, everything we offer through May 1st. Just $79. Every best bet, every host, every guest. The betting splits from DraftKings and Circa. 24/7 video access. And the betting guides make this holiday season unforgivable. The gift of smarter betting. VSiN.com/subscribe. Okay, let's stay with the Tampa game. No Otten, no Shepard. Evans went off in the first game, and McMillan's been big of late. They're going to need him. McMillan, 40.5.
Yeah, McMillan, one of those situations where you clearly have seen him become the number 2 wide receiver inside of this offense, going for 50 or more yards in the last 3 games. You mentioned we're missing multiple key pieces here for the Bucs offense, but even more than that, Horn has been playing well for this Panthers defense on the outside. He is going to get Evans, and they're going to roll safety coverage over the top on him as well. That means that you're going to get a positive matchup here for McMillan. I was surprised this was sitting at just 40.5 receiving yards. I realize his numbers haven't been great from a season-long perspective. He's averaging sub 40 yards a game. It's why you're seeing it so low. But because of the last 3 games and how we've seen Baker get more and more comfortable with him in this spot, I think it's a pretty easy target for him to get over. So we'll go over 40.5 receiving yards here for McMillan in that Bucs game. All right.
I think Tennessee-Jacksonville could be wild.
It could be fun, man.
I think it's got the potential here. By the way, if you check the prop analyzer, Rudolph 4-0 to the over with completions. What do you think? You've been on Thomas many times.
I have been on Thomas many times. Brian Thomas Jr., one of my favorite guys. I talked about him in the draft process where I thought this was really a 4-headed monster wide receiver in this draft, not 3, with him being right up there with those top 3. And that's been paying off here this year. He has absolutely exploded the last 5 weeks. Since we saw Mac Jones come into the lineup, he has been clearly the go-to guy in this offense. The last 4 games, he's gotten 10 or more targets, gone over the 77.5 prop he has in this game in every one of those. Now you get a Tennessee defense that's just not very good. It's a pick'em game. You would assume you're going to have a pretty general game script here, so you're not in a situation where you're not going to be throwing the football. And Mac Jones, like I said, just peppering him with targets. If he gets these opportunities, and they're not just short ones, they're long balls as well, he should be able to go over that 77.5 number. We laddered him up on the website last week up to 100 yards. He went for 138. I would go back to 100 here on the ladder if you want as well. You can get that at plus money. But like Brian Thomas Jr. over again this week at 77.5.
Okay, let's go Jets plus 10. Sell me here.
This is an anti-Bills play. First off, this is a Bills defense that is not good. I mean, they gave up 40 points against the Rams. They gave up 40 points against the Lions. Last week, they probably should have lost to the Patriots. Now you got a Jets team coming in here, and Josh Allen in press conferences this week talking about how they weren't pulling out all the stops, that they were literally holding their punches because they're saving the quote-unquote good plays for the playoffs. Now they can't get the number 1 seed. They're more or less locked into this 2 spot here. I just don't think you're going to see a huge effort here from Buffalo. On top of it, we've got a weather situation, which doesn't help from a scoring perspective on the Buffalo side. I looked at Ray Davis props in this game. It feels like he's someone who will be inserted more into the lineup if you do have a Buffalo team that isn't as worried about winning the game and is more worried about health. So I'll take the 10 points with the Jets here. We saw this get up to as high as 10.5 and get bet down consistently. I don't think we're going to kick off in double digits for this game, so I think we're getting ahead of the line move as well.
Michael, let me turn this into a Survivor question for you based on your play on this game. If you had the following teams available in Survivor, who would you take? Eagles, Bills, Colts, Bucks, Rams. Who would be your Survivor play this week?
I would go with the Bucks. Of the teams that you mentioned, they're the only one that actually needs to win. Right? The Rams can lose this week, still win their division. The Bills can lose this week, doesn't really make a big difference for them. The Eagles can lose this week, not a huge issue for them. The Bucks have to win to keep this South dream alive in the NFC. So I don't subscribe into the points moves that we see. In a lot of these games, you'll see the team that has to win or the team that is more quote-unquote motivated move 2 to 3 points off what we originally would have focused on if it was just a numbers perspective. I think that matters more when you're in something like Survivor than it necessarily does against the spread, because this is a Bucs team that should be highly motivated at home and needs the game against a Panthers team. Well, yes, they've been frisky in covering. I'm not as worried about them being able to pull out the upset.
So I have Bucks plus 270 to make playoffs. So I took the 8 in this spot. Try to middle it and be a little bit of a hedge.
I love it.
Yeah.
I mean, I think the Bucks are the best team in the division. I think if you ask around to the possible 5 seeds in the NFC, who do you not want to be that 4 seed? It's the Bucks. I mean, you'd much rather play Atlanta than the Bucks in Tampa.
Think about if, let's just say Minnesota and Green Bay are the 5 and 6. One has to go to L.A. and play the Rams, and one has to go to Tampa. There's no gimmies on this NFC side, I don't think. Even though these teams are going to have 13 wins and be like the college football playoff, be the be favored on the road, so to speak. I think they're tough spots.
The gimmies Atlanta, if they somehow get in, right? That's the layup. Because even if, let's say, the Seahawks end up winning the West and it's not the Rams,
all right,
I would still much rather end up playing Atlanta.
Very good. Digging deep here. Mike made the case, 6-1 lowest scoring team. Browns team total under 15.5. Going to be weather.
There's going to be weather, but more importantly,
DTR.
there's DTR. There's only a few times in your life you'll get to fade certain people in the NFL because they are so bad that you know they're probably not going to start again. This is probably one of the last times we'll be able to bet against DTR in some way inside the NFL. And this Miami defense is one that should be able to stop a pretty vanilla game here from Cleveland. Right now, your team total, depending on where you shop, anywhere from 14.5 to 16.5. I like them all under. Like if they have to score 2 touchdowns and a field goal, give me the team total under here on the Browns.
Mike Stefanski cannot sit there on the sidelines and watch him play and not be in tank mode to keep him in the game, because there is no reason not to go back to Jameis in the second half of that game when Cincinnati was trying to let them in that game and kept giving him the ball. He's not an NFL quarterback.
He's not. He's not accurate. He's not on time. He can't really scramble or run when it's the regular season. Preseason DTR, he's fun. Regular season DTR, he's bad. So let's go team total Cleveland here under 15.5 is the number I got it at.
Mike Somich, our guest in studio every Friday. Ready, Set, Bet, and also the contest show Saturdays, 9 p.m. Eastern, 6 p.m. Pacific, right here on VSiN. Sunday night game under 47.5 could be weather.
Yeah, I'm surprised this is still sitting there on the board at 47.5. I like the under in this spot. We're expecting weather, but even more so, if you're looking at Atlanta, you're looking at Washington and how they want to try and move the football. Both of them are going to be more motivated to move it through the ground. We've seen this Washington offense regress quite a bit since the weeks where they did not punt. Now they're having much more trouble moving the football. The run game, one of those reasons. But Atlanta on the other side, it's going to be the first road game for Michael Penix. They've got 2 good running backs. You're facing a Washington defense that's not great against the run. To me, this is one of those spots where the coach's job is to really try and slow this down, be able to pull the pace back, and all of that plays toward an under. On top of it, you mentioned it, the weather, not supposed to be great in this spot as well. So let's take the under 47.5 here for Sunday Night Football.
All right. Monday night, stepping out. Now, what are you going to do? Alts here. You think it could get out of hand?
Well, I look at this game, right, and you've got a 3.5 line right now with the Lions. If they cover, let's just hypothetically say they cover 3.5, how many points do you think they win by? I will go with double digits, because this feels like it's a game where we rewind to last year. And there were 2 games that stood out for me for the Lions. The Cowboys game that they lost.
U-Haul backed up could be? Okay, go.
The Cowboys game that they lost last year, and then they played the Cowboys this year, and we're running multiple plays at the offensive linemen trying to blow them out of the water. Okay. And then the San Francisco game in the playoffs. Okay. And they've been talking about this San Francisco game where, they want to go out and they want to win this. Dan Campbell wants to show everything they have. They don't care about the seeding. They don't care about the division. They want to play hard in this spot. And then you look at the Niners and all of the injuries that they have. This is just a spot where it feels like if the Lions decide they want to play, this line shouldn't be 3.5. It should be 7, 8. And in that case, I want to take alt. So give me the Lions minus 12.5 plus 307.
Oof. Not bad.
That's
not bad. Good breakdown,
it's a fun number, right?
Dan Campbell has everyone on the revenge tour. Like, he's faking his play against the Bears last week to fall down. But Dallas, he definitely. He has a long memory. Let's put it that way.
Which is a good thing for an NFL coach. When he's not a superstar at offense. He's not a guru on the defensive side. But, man, can he motivate. And this is a motivation spot for this Lions team.
One team's doing the fake fumble, fall down, and the other team can't get the play in. But they did it against as well. Ben Johnson got to go to Chicago. Can you get in the hockey play?
Yeah, we got 2 of them here. Well, it's St. Louis Blues taking on the Nashville Predators. The Blues at home tonight. They're plus 123. I thought they should be minus 105. So quite a bit of value for my numbers for that game. And then another one where this is a value play for me. I'm going to take the Avalanche minus 1.5 goals plus 179 right back here at Circa, taking on the Utah Hockey Club. They won 4-1 in Utah. They lost game 2 against them, but this is a situation where you've got 2 teams rested, healthy. I'll go ahead and take the better team here and take plus 179.
Blackwood's a big upgrade from him. And another thing is, Kareem Vejmelka is not a top tier NHL. I know they've won some games here, Utah, but he is not a reliable goaltender in my mind.
And he's not. We talked about Blackwood when the trade happened. We talked about this Avs team minus 1.5 a couple weeks ago. And this is one of those teams where the talent is all there up front. The talent is there on the defensive side. They got to get the goaltending. I think Blackwood solves that problem.
All right. Enjoy the games. 11 football games tomorrow. We're back Monday. Thanks to Somich. Thanks to Chernoff. We're back with Mike Palm and Pauly on Monday. The Friday Football Invitational coming up with Humans, all the picks, and Von Tobel. They do a great job. And Chuck Edel, no surprise, kicking ass and taking names.
The Iceman cometh.